This conference will now be recorded.
Yeah, the Java full stack course, how it has to be, how we are going to complete this course. So what are the modules it will be covered? Those things I'll walk you through that. Then we will see that if time permits, then we may go and do some coding hands-on example. We'll see that. Yeah. Here, when it comes to the full stack, uh, so this is the first one is it's going to take the 75 hours. And the first module we will be starting with the core Java. Then we learn about the SQL and NoSQL databases. And then we will go and learn about the UI component, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, Bootstrap, uh, the Ajax. These are the things we'll be dealing in UI. Then we'll learn the Angular. So then finally we are going to learn about the Spring framework. This is what we can expect, or we are going to deal with that. The first we'll spend core Java. In core Java, what we are going to learn, like core Java, you will be learning from the fundamentals, like how to start or how to install the JDK, how to install the Eclipse, and what is a JRE, what is a JDK. Then we'll be explaining about the basic programming construct. How are you going to write it here? The basic syntax. Okay, how do you write the loops? So every fundamental concepts will be explained. Even though if you there will be a whenever we start batch, the batch will have the combination of the few people already know programming languages, few people they may be learning the first time. So by keeping in the mind, we will go with the uh, fundamentals. We'll go with the fundamentals, from the basic, how to start, how to write a hello world example. Everything we'll be discussing here. And here, when you are working in a real-time applications, what are the environment we use? From the day one, we are going to use the Git, and then you'll be using the build tool called say Maven or Gradle, and then IDE we are going to use it here. Here I'm going to use the IDE is uh, Eclipse. So IntelliJ IDE we will be using sometimes. Depends on the what if you are already familiar with the one of the IDEs. Yeah, you can continue with that. If you are using the first time, you can get start with the IntelliJ IDE. You can get start with that IntelliJ or Eclipse. You can get start with that. So once you have done the programming, the core Java concepts, so those concepts, and then you will be learning the SQL, and by after that, like SQL, and you have learned the SQL, you have learned the core Java, then you will be developing the one end-to-end application you are going to develop here. End-to-end application that will give you the how we are going to connect with the your Java application to the databases. So how you are going to manage your data, persist your data, and how you are going to retrieve. Those all the things you will be learning in the core Java. By using the core Java, you can develop the standalone applications. It's kind of a desktop applications. You can develop that here. And one thing is we are not going to deal with any of the UI components in core Java. JWT, those concepts will not be discussed. So these are the main things we'll be. These are the main things we are going to discuss in core Java. If anyone has any concerns or any questions, you can stop me and you can ask that, guys. Yeah. Then the module 2, where you will be learning about the HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Bootstrap, and these are the things you will be learning, the basic things you will be learning here. And you may be having the questions like, no, hey, what kind of projects we may develop during this development phase, or during this project, this time, what kind of project we are going to develop. If you look at here, the earlier batches, we have taken the I have some demos. I will show you that what kind of applications you are going to develop. I'll show you that here. Okay, not to deviate from here. I'll show you that just a minute. So when you are learning the HTML and CSS and JavaScript, what kind of applications am I going to develop that? Okay. If you take this year, once you are done with the HTML and CSS, JavaScript, once you're done with that, this is a kind of a JS playground. Let me GitHub dot. Okay, so this is what the GitHub repository will be created. Suppose if you take the previous batch, So the March 22. So this is the place where we have a core Java. Then when they are learning the JavaScript, what is the JavaScript they have learned? UI. So in UI they will have the core Java, and these are the basic things you will be having here. Like what kind of examples you will create that? That's our question is here. There is a repository called the playground. Okay, JavaScript, Java playground, JS playground. So you will be asked to do this. So you will be developing the. Okay, this is not opening that. Okay, anyway, that's not a problem. So here, when you are taking the previous batch code, I'm going to the previous batch code. I'm going here. I'm not getting that there. Java February. Okay, web app. I'm sorry, guys. Git. This is a code March. Yeah, UI. What kind of applications you will be developing that UI when you are learning that? Let me show you that here. When you open the JavaScript, when you are learning that here, how you are going to perform the basic operations of the uh, like CRUD operations, how we are going to perform, and at the same time, when you're learning about the JavaScript functions, how to work with the JavaScript functions, and then if you take the news application, yeah, the news application, how this application. Okay, let me open in browser, not browser. I'm going to open in IDE code dot. So this is a yeah. These are the examples like when you are learning the JavaScript, uh, the basic examples like JavaScript. When you once you learn the concept, you should apply that concepts. How we are going to apply that? Just I'm going to open with the live preview server so that you will see that these examples. Now I'll let me change that to the local host. This is what. So if you are taking here Ajax calls and news API. So now here you have a some country news. We are going to select it here, sports, and we are going to select it in India. So like what are the news items are news items are available a particular country. Now if I'm going to take the Canada, I'll get the news of the Canada news. I'm going to get it here. So these all these things like you are making a call to the API. What are the response you are getting, and you are going to show that here. And when you are learning uh, like the basic things like to do application you are developing here. Let's take it here. To do application is something I'm saying that reading Java 8 in action. I'm going to take the Java 8 in action. I'm going to take it here. This is what my to do. If I want to delete, just I can delete that here. Do you want to confirm that? So these are the simple examples are but practically you will be developing. I will be showing that, and a few assignments questions will be given to you, and how you are going to organize your code. Everything will be explained in UI. So this is some of the basic examples. Like what are the examples we do in a classroom? Every, go ahead, guys. Yeah, every examples will be shared with you. The source code will be shared with you. And once you are done with that, then we will be seeing the SQL. The module 3. We are going to learn about the. This is an Angular framework where you will be learning about the TypeScript and like in order to know Angular, the prerequisite is you should know TypeScript. The TypeScript is a superset of the JavaScript. And what is a TypeScript? And from the basic Angular also we are going to deal with that.
What is
And where once you learn, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, please. Please go ahead, dear. You have a question? Yeah. Feel free to ask the question, any question. So if I know, I'll answer. If I don't know, I may, yeah, I may come back to your question. Yeah, no problem. Yeah. So then we are going to learn about the module 3, where you are going to learn about the Angular. So the Angular we learn about the end to end. how you are going to develop the Angular application, and how you are going to deploy that Angular application. And at the same time, we'll see how APIs you are going to consume in UI applications. These all the things you'll be learning that. Then finally, we'll be learning about the Spring, and Spring we'll get start with the Spring Boot, and where you will be covering there are a lot of modules are available, the modules which are required to work in the projects. These are the modules we are going to discuss about that: core, AOP, MVC, data, and rest and security. These modules we'll be discussing. On top of that, there are certain things like the email configurations, and there is something called the FTL, pre-market template language, and Swagger. The Swagger is like API documentation. To maintain the API documentation, we'll use this Swagger. So these things you'll be learning. And then when you are working with the deployment of your applications, where you should familiar with the Jenkins and the Sonar. So the Jenkins and Sonar, so we'll be explaining that practically. We'll show that here from the Jenkins how we are going to deploy that application. And Sonar Lint is a static code analyzer. It is going to check that the quality of your source code, how quality code you have written, that those are the things. Heroku is something AWS kind of a platform where you can deploy your application into the Java applications. You can easily deploy into the Heroku, so without any payment or any credit card details. Like it's a free tier. There is a limitations with the free tier, so we can, as a hobby projects when you're developing, so we can go with the Heroku. Then Mongo Atlas is this is a Mongo database service provider where it is free. Up to 500 MB data, it is a free. We can use the Mongo Atlas. We can use it when you are working with the Mongo. Yeah. So these are the module 4 we are going to discuss. And then how the application is we are going to develop or build. First, we'll work any applications when you take the 3-tier architecture, the presentation layer, business layer, and data layer. In our case, so the presentation layer, everything we are going to use the Angular related stuff. We are going to use it here. And business layer, this is a place where we are going to use the Spring and Spring and Java. We are going to use it here. And data access layer, DB can be either relational database or NoSQL database. You will be using that. And in order to interact with the databases, we will be writing the DOs. These DOs will be written in. Let's take it as we are going to write it in Spring Data. We will be using that. That's the most widely used framework. We can say that here. Yeah, and how this application is going to be deployed. So this UI components we will be deploying in a Firebase. That's a free service. That's the reason we will be going with that. And here we will be deploying this cloud application in Heroku. And MongoDB we are going to deploy in. We don't deploy because we are taking the service. We are taking that here. The Mongo service we are taking from the Mongo Atlas. That will be deployed here. And these three, how it is going to be connected, and how you are going to build the applications, we'll be learning about that. And now this is a pictorial representation. It's the same. Now what kind of applications you are going to build? Just I'm going to show you that here. Okay. When you take this here, yeah, the UI components, when you're building that, what kind of applications you are going to build? Let me show you that here. This is a JavaScript. Already I shown you that here. When you're learning this is JavaScript, only few things it has been built here. Suppose something we are going to take some EMI we are taking here, and which is a rate of interest is let's take it as a 11%, and the duration is a 24 months. If I'm taking here for 12% interest, if I'm taking here, what is the EMI? So this is going to be calculated here. Okay. So learning JavaScript is learning, all the operators and all these things here. By using those operators and JavaScript, what are the concepts you learn? How are you going to develop a small application? The EMI calculator, minutes to seconds conversion. Those are all the things you will be learning about that. So here, this is the place where you are going to see that API calls, how we are going to make something. The spinning, it is maybe server is down, or we can check that here. What is happening there? So network tab, if I'm going here, it is making. Okay, yeah. Okay, now it has come back. Okay, let's look at here. IPL, if I'm taking here, the servers which we are using is a free servers. If you don't use it for more than 30 minutes, if you don't get any requests, the servers are going to be shut down. Now, if I'm selecting the RCB, so this is the team data, RCB data, entire data, we got it from the server, we got it here. Okay, we got it from the server, and it's going to, like, the moment I change the team, which is going to give me the team, what are the selected team, it is going to give it here. Okay, this is what API calls we are going to make it here. How to make API calls, we'll learn about that. Like contact book application when you are developing here. Suppose if I'm editing this year, Krish, this age is last year. It's just I'm updating his age. Like you are taking a simple UI page where you are going to add, and at the same time you can delete. When you are deleting that, are you sure do you want to delete that? So because delete is a costly operation, so we need to confirm that once user says delete, then only it should be deleted. We should never, without confirmation, you should never delete that here. So otherwise, sometimes what happens if a mouse gets stuck here, if you don't have confirmation, it is going to delete all the records. It is going to delete here. To avoid that costly operations, always we should ask the confirmation. We should ask it here. If you say no, it is not going to delete. If you say yes, it is going to be deleted here. Okay. There is a bug in this. Even when I'm clicking on the delete, also it is coming the data into this form. It is coming here. We shouldn't be getting that. We shouldn't be getting that ideally. Anyway, that is not that trivial. Do you want to delete that? If I'm asking here, this is going to be deleted here. Do you want to delete that? I'm going to delete that here. This is the any static data. Once if I refresh, I will get this data. I will get it here. 1 second. Now, when you're learning the arrays, this is the CRUD operation we are going to perform here, add, delete. This is the same thing, more or less. If it's the single field, I will explain, and then I will be asking you to develop this application. Initially, we'll explain about the single field, how we are going to take it here. So, in order to persist this data temporarily, we need to use some container classes. Some container we need to use it here. Here, I have used the arrays. Then when you're learning about the functions, if I want to find the, just to generate the, first 100 prime numbers, I want to generate the 100 prime numbers. Just I'm asking to generate the 100 prime numbers. I'm asking here. These are the 100 prime numbers. Just we are writing a utilities. At that point of time, I could think of this, if you want to develop some calculators, in a single place you want to give everything, you want to develop the one simple application where that may help the people. Suppose if you are taking here generating the first 100 prime numbers, it is not that easy. Suppose you want to get the 1000 prime numbers, just you ask here, it is going to give the 1000 prime numbers. It is giving here. Somebody needs that 1000 prime numbers, and you are helping them. They can come to your website and they can quickly do that. Yeah, there are a lot of sites are available to generate that. Then here the operators. This is just simple arithmetic operators. My calculator. Suppose if I'm taking the 60 milliseconds, I want to convert it into the seconds, or it is equal to milliseconds seconds. This is wrong. Oh no, yeah. 1000 milliseconds equal to, I want to convert into the seconds. I want to convert. Okay, I'm going to seconds. I'm converting here. 1000 milliseconds equal to 1 second. It is going to say that here. This is the conversions you will be doing here. This is what, when you are developing the UI, this is a completely responsive web page. It's a responsive web page. You can take it here, inspect element. Yeah, inspect element. If I'm taking here, yeah, this is a driver. If you take it here, iPhone 5, how it looks. Okay, if you're opening with the, Galaxy Fold, how it looks. If you let me make it as 100%. This is okay. If you are opening with the iPhone Pro, this is what it looks like. This is a responsive page. In order to develop the responsive pages, we use the Bootstrap we have used here. This is a UI side. Now, what about the server side? What kind of projects you are going to develop here? When you are taking the server side, first, what are the application you are going to develop here? And this application server side, when you're writing, it will have a lot of APIs. These APIs has to be accessed by the UI developers. So for UI developers to tell that, hey, these are the APIs are available, you need to send the request in this format. And once the request is sent to the server, if the request understood by the server, then it is going to give the response. What type of response it is giving? everything we'll do the documentation by using the Swagger documentation. This is Swagger is a library. We need not to write any code for that. By using the Swagger documentation, you will get to know that what are the APIs are available. Let's take it as a simple application. You are using the GoToMeeting we are using here. Now, GoToMeeting, you want to have your own UI, you want to have it here. You don't want to use the GoToMeeting UI. You want to use your own UI, you are developing that here. In that cases, what we will do, we are going to integrate GoToMeeting features in your website you are going to include. So to include that, what are the features they have provided? They have to expose that. The expose they will do in the form of a API. Now, when they are exposing the API, they should tell that what kind of response they are going to give, what are the response it contains, everything they have to explain that here. To explain that, we have to prepare a documentation. That documentation in a web UI format, we'll get it as a Swagger. So it's taking a long time. Don't know what is the reason. Yeah. Sometimes these projects might have been deleted also. But it shouldn't be taking that long time. Anyway, this is a UI application. Let me show you that here. Let it come back. That by the time I'll send that here. So this application, if you take it here, at the end of the course, you will be developing the backend data you are going to persist into the database, and at the same time you will write a server side you will write a code, and finally, the moment I select the Mumbai, and it is going to tell you that here, Mumbai Indians in the year 2020. Who are the players, and where they have spent the how many players are there, each role how many players are there. This is what it is going to show you that here. Okay, when you click on this, it is going to show you that who are those guys. It is going to say that here. These are all these things we are getting from the data from the server side we are getting here. Now, if you go and look at the network, if I'm looking at the network tab, if I'm looking at here, now I don't want to device. Let me close this device thing. Yeah. Now I'm going to change the team. I'm going to change it here. The moment I change here team, okay, that you see here, I have sent the request Punjab, and what are the response it is getting here? This is the response it is getting here. Two APIs it is called. The first API, it is going to give all the players of the Punjab team. It is going to give it here. The second response, it is going to give how many each role wise, how many players are there. It is giving here. This data, as an Angular developer, what you will do, you will convert the data into one is you are displaying in the form of a table. Another one you are going to display it as a Google chart. You are going to display here. Now here, when you click on this, when I'm clicking on this, you have done the one more click. It is going to give the players list. It is going to give it here. Who are those players? These are the players of the particular role. All-rounder, there is all-rounder, 6 all-rounders are there. We'll get the 6 all-rounders. That data we are going to display in the form of a table chart we are going to display here. So in order to develop this page, so we should have the knowledge on the database. So this is a place where you are going to persist your data. Then here we are going to develop your server-side application. The server side, we are going to write it here, and then you are going to write the UI application. Okay, as a full stack developer, you are expected to know UI, you are expected to know server side, you are expected to know database as well. So you are alone, you are going to manage this application. So in order to develop these applications, so we will be using we should know how we are going to deploy your database, and are deploying, or how to take that service, and how we are going to deploy this server application into the what are the environment you have, and UI application, how we are going to deploy that. And at the same time, during the development phase, you should know how to use the Git, the source code repository project. Most of the times you will be working in a team. So whatever source code you are going to develop that here, the source code has to be managed. So the source code management will be done by, you will be doing by using the Git. Then this application will uses the lot of libraries it will uses here. When you're working in a team, team of 3 or 4 people, when you're working with that, like now everybody needs the same libraries, and everyone has to follow the same directory structures. It has to be followed when you're creating the project. That's the places where we use the something called the Maven build tool. We call it as a build tool. We will be using the build tool, Maven or Gradle. We are going to use it here in order to build your applications. The build process involves the from the library management to the you are going to compile your code, then you are going to test your code, then you are going to package that, then finally you are going to the packaged code you are going to deploy into the somewhere. You are going to deploy that here. These are all the steps. Every time you need to do that whenever you make the changes, and these steps has been automated by using the build tools, either Maven or Gradle. Okay, these things also we will be learning about that. Once you have done that here, now whenever my code is pushed, that code has to be the code has to be immediately, it has to be built, and it has to be deployed into the my Heroku server. Like in my case, I'm using the Heroku server I'm using here. So in that case, whenever you build this application, whenever you push this code it into the Git, automatically this application has to be built and it has to be deployed into the Heroku. Okay, the moment if it's a build fails, immediately it has to notify the people, hey, your build has a problem, it has failed. So to do this, we use the Jenkins. We are going to use it here. We will be using the Jenkins. We are going to use it here. And at the same time, during this process, the code quality, we need to check that here. You will be writing the JUnit, you will be writing here. The unit testing, you will do that here. When you do the unit testing, how much code coverage it has done, that we need to verify. And at the same time, whether you have written the code, clean code you have written or not. That to validate that, here you use the Jacoco plugin. Will use it here. This Jacoco will help you. What is the code coverage? What is the code coverage? It is going to tell you that here. Whether you have written the test cases for all the things or not, it is going to check that here. And to check the static code analyzer, we will use the Sonar Cube. This Sonar Cube, if your the code smells are more, it won't allow you to build your application. So this is the quality gates we will be checking that here. If everything is fine, then you are going to deploy your application into the Heroku. You are going to deploy that here. Heroku or whatever you service you are using. If it is Amazon, AWS, you will be deploying into the AWS. So these all the things, as a full stack developer, you must have the knowledge on that, and with the hands-on skills, you must have it here. So these all the things, now you may ask the question that, are we going to deal with all these things? Yes, we are going to deal with that. Practically, we will be doing that here. Most of the things we'll install on our PC. We will try to get hands-on, and we will try to deploy the applications and to learn the Jacoco, writing the JUnit. So everything will be covered in this course. So this is what you can expect during this full stack training course. Anyone has any questions or any concerns? Go ahead, please.
Hey Lakshman,
Yeah.
what is the use of Heroku?
Heroku is something like AWS kind of thing.
Okay.
It's a cloud platform where you can deploy your applications. That is acquired by the Salesforce now. Earlier,
Okay.
AWS, where we need to give the credit card, and you need to give that. Most of the students will not have the credit card. That's the reason I'd ask them to use the Heroku as their pet projects to deploy.
Yeah, like AWS, will they have some free tier program?
There is some 300 hours something they have, but the credit card is a mandatory to register to have the free account.
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lakshman.
Yeah. I know this is today is a long weekend for US people. So we had a demo now today. So yeah, I have a demo. I have planned some other examples, but there is no point in discussing that. I thought of discussing what are you going to, what you can expect during this course, and just I'm setting you the prerequisite. Prerequisite is just free mindset to learn and practice the whatever you are learning the every day. That's all. So 2 hours of your time is the prerequisite to learn the Java. Yeah. Because we are going from the basics, the day you are done with the every day you are done with, once you are done with the session, just practice that. We will be doing a lot of examples. We will be doing that here. The classroom examples, like no, so everyday examples will be given to you. Suppose if you take the core Java example, if you are taking here, let's take it here, core Java here, the day 1 to day 20, what are the examples we have done? Everything will be given to you. Day 20, what is the example? Like no, day 1, you may be having the probably very less examples. 1 or 2 examples you will have it here. 3, 4 examples you are having here. Day 2, day 3, day 4, like no, these are the basic things, like when you're doing the some games, fun games, you will be developing that here. Every code, like no, the not only coding, like no, what are the best practices for the coding? Like if you see that here, how are you going to write the clean code? Those all standards you will be following the from the day 1. And if you are if you are entering into the like even though you have a zero experience, like no, the moment you write a clean code, like the people will, the way you write the code, that also they will look at that, no. So when especially when you're attending interviews, so that definitely it is going to help you that. So the source code will be given and recordings will be made it available. So everyday recordings, just you need to practice the whatever examples you are just given. That's all from my side. If you have any questions, I'll take your questions, I'll answer. If not, we are done. Okay, there is some message. Yeah. Any questions, guys? Any questions? Feel free to ask any question if you have any questions. I was wondering how much emphasis would be placed on the data structures and algorithms. Data structures and algorithms. So okay, yeah. Some question is here. How much emphasis is given on the data structures and the algorithms? If you are asking that, what are the built-in data structures it is available in like list, set, map, and then arrays. So those all concepts will be covered, but we don't deal it as a separately data structures and the algorithms. Yeah, because Java has got a lot of built-in data structures it is having here. There is no point in reinventing the wheel and writing that here. Like if you are C and C++, they have a limitation. They don't have the those data structures. We need to write them manually. But in case of the Java, it has already the built-in data structures like stack, queue, linked list, double linked list, map. Then you name anything, they have a class for that. So there is no point in writing the creating the similar classes. So like the main target is here, like you will take a business problem, you'll solve by using these data structures. Like that is the time where I will be explaining that what data structure, when to use that, those all these things you will be learning. Yeah. So any other questions? Because I don't want to do the false promise. Data structures we will discuss the whatever it is there in like as a part of the Java language. So those data structures only we'll be discussing. Okay, don't have any questions, then thank you so much. So we'll meet on Wednesday. It's my Wednesday. Yeah. Thank you, guys.